Well, the smart money, as you rightly mentioned, has to be on Nadal. He's won 20 of his 21 finals on clay. But interestingly, the only loss came here last year to Federer. But the circumstances coming into the final were much different last year to this, weren't they?
Absolutely. Nadal played a lot of tournaments on the trot, won all of them. And it was a big ask for him to come here again and try and beat Federer, considering he had a tough draw getting all the way through to the final. And I think finally ran out of gas.
Let's hope both have full tanks today. And if the match is half as interesting, half as fascinating as yesterday's semi-final between Nadal and Djokovic, then we're in for a real treat. It was a phenomenal match. Very knowledgeable tennis fans in this part of the world, they know that today they're in the presence of greatness. Nadal, possibly the greatest clay court player of all time, up against possibly the greatest player of all time in their beloved Roger Federer. This is why the guys train so hard. This is why the guys spend so much time in the gym. And this is why the guys travel the world for the necessary experience required to be able to beat the very best in the world on the very largest stages. Both players will be nervous, but both will also be very much looking forward to the encounter. It's a true test of their skills. And there are so many arguments in favor of one or the other. You can fudge the numbers, statistics to back your favorite, but we'll only tell in 2 or 3 hours' time who will prove to be the greatest on the day. These two are so good that Nadal was saying yesterday, that's all that matters. I have to play my very best tennis to have a chance of beating Federer. It doesn't matter what court surface we're playing on. I hope that I wake up feeling good after just beating Djokovic in well over 3 hours. And if I do, I'm going to stand a chance. But that's all. Even by playing his best, he only gives himself a chance of beating Federer. That's how great the world number one is. But also, that's a position Nadal likes to be in, the slight underdog. And he's very sensible in everything that he says, not to heap too much pressure on his own shoulders.
Absolutely, but coupled with that, I really love this young man's humility and respect that he has for Federer. I think it is so admirable in this day and age.
And they both have enormous respect for one another. They're friends as well as great rivals.
So a photograph over there, the lady in the white.
Fergus Murphy's the umpire.
Okay, now TV changeovers, 25 seconds between points, everything else is the same. Any questions? Need anything? Roger? Heads. And then photo this way. Tails. Receiving, okay.
Nadal won a toss, selected to receive. No surprises there. Wonderful moment for the mascots too. And nice to see both players smiling before the final. I think this rivalry is one that they both want and need. It brings out the very best in both.
It sure does, and it's so healthy for the sport. I think it's going to be one of the greatest rivalries of all time in the sport of tennis. Lendl McEnroe heads the numbers. They played 20 finals together. And these guys are competing in their 12th final today. And they're still both so young, Jason. We're going to see plenty more of them. And these Master Series events, and hopefully also at Grand Slam level.
Fingers crossed. That's what we all want. And it was so nice to see the big three in the semi-finals here. Seppi, of course, did really, really well to make it through to the semi-finals. Played some great tennis. His match against Kiefer in the quarterfinals was a very emotional one. German serve for the match in that deciding set, but eventually nerves got the better of him. So nice to see the Italian having a good week, but it was the big three that everybody wanted to see at the latter stages of the tournaments. It's a tournament director's dream to have those three battling it out on semi-final Saturday, and the top two players in the world doing battle in Sunday's showpiece final is what everybody wants. And Federer, of course, has changed his schedule a little bit this season. He's won 26 matches, lost 6. A lot of talk earlier in the year about the fact that he lost his edge. He had the illness, which obviously affected him a little bit. But then chose to play Estoril, won the tournament, hooked up with Jose Aguirre. So he's made some changes. This European clay court season is so important to him, isn't it?
Absolutely. He wants the preparation to be just spot on going into the French. Obviously, it's the Grand Slam that he's never won, and the idea in playing Estoril was to get a few more clay court matches under his belt, start a little bit earlier on in the season, get a fay with the conditions, get a fay with the movement on the clay. It's so different to playing on any other surface. And got a coach and has made a couple of nice little adjustments. We'll speak about that as the match goes on, the implementations of some of the new shots, the drop shot in particular. And it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out here and then in Roland Garros in a week's time.
Yeah, both players won't be thinking about the French Open at all at the moment. So, of course, yesterday's match was important between Nadal and Djokovic in terms of the fact that Nadal will definitely be seeded 2 now, and Federer said that's huge because he didn't want to play Nadal in the semis. All his matches have been won comfortably this week. Nieminen was dispatched in 57 minutes. Soderling was beaten in 1 hour and 4. Verdasco was beaten in 1 hour and 20 minutes. And Seppi yesterday was dispatched in 1 hour and 18 minutes. So no problems at all for Federer.
And quite unusual for Federer not to encounter a seed throughout the draw, getting all the way to the finals. And today will be the first time that he's facing a seeded player.
And what a player. Nadal, of course, has matured so very quickly, still just 21 years of age. He's never lost a match at the French Open. He's won 3 titles there in the last 3 years, and of course has defeated Federer in the final in both 2006 and 2007. And of course he's done remarkably well to make the finals of Wimbledon in both of those years as well, falling both times, of course, to today's opponent. He's been ranked number 2 in the world longer than anybody else since the rankings were introduced in 1973, 147 straight weeks. Had he lost yesterday to Djokovic, he would have moved down to number 3 in the world. But he says that's not important. He said, I've just got to concentrate on playing my best tennis all the time. The rankings will take care of themselves. I think it's an excellent attitude.
Yeah, he's got a phenomenal attitude, and already 10 Masters Series titles in 14 finals. For me, that is one of the most impressive stats that you're ever going to see from any player, especially Nadal, because it shows how good he is in the big matches.
Yeah, he's played 25 or 125 finals, lost 8, 20 and 1 on clay. So there's no doubt that this is his most effective court surface. And he really struggled against Petito Stracci, but not because he played particularly poorly, but because the Italian played very intelligently.
He sure did. He came out with a good game plan and he executed it very well. Nadal did say he was a little short of a bit of match practice coming in. We know how much he loves to play. Obviously losing first round last week to one Carlos Ferreira didn't help matters, but how well he turned it up in the next couple of matches, Jason.
Yeah, that's the key. The great players do improve so readily once they get a couple of matches under their belt. Now, let's talk a little bit about their head-to-head record, because it's important. Nadal has beaten Federer a lot of times, particularly on clay, 7-1. But that victory did come here last year, so Federer can take heart from that.
Absolutely, and he'll try and get as many positives out of that victory back in Hamburg as possible. And he is also the first to acknowledge that Nadal was a little jaded in that final, and he obviously understands the size of the task that lies before him today. It's never easy when you play Nadal on clay. We saw that yesterday. In fact, Djokovic made a comment to the effect that he thought Nadal was the best defensive player that he has ever seen. And that was a huge compliment to lay at the feet of Nadal. Really is so tough to hit through on the surface.
And that's the difficulty, isn't it, for players that play against him? You know that you can't just rally from the baseline. He's going to win the majority of those points. He's so consistent. So he forces you to then be aggressive. But in becoming so good defensively, then it's so very hard to get the better of him. So it's hard for somebody like Federer to really know how aggressive to be, how much to serve and volley. how much to just rally with Nadal from the back. There are one or two that suggest that he does that a little too frequently. Do you fall in that camp?
I do. I think he has to be aggressive when he plays against Nadal. I think he's got to come in a little bit more. We saw Djokovic do that so effectively in the second set yesterday. He came in a lot. In fact, Djokovic came to the net, I think, something like 42 times in the match yesterday, and he almost got it right. And I think it's something that Roger needs to do a little bit more. We know how good Federer is around the net. He should be comfortable around there, and I think it's a great way to finish the point off, because by coming in, you cut down the amount of time that Nadal has at the baseline, and that's the key when you're playing against the Spaniard.
He's tinkered with his serve a little bit over the course of the last 2 or 3 seasons. Yesterday, against Djokovic, he came up with some big serves on some big points, didn't he?
He certainly did, and he mixed it up well. Didn't get too predictable, changed it up just nicely on the big points, and kept Novak Djokovic just off guard. And one of the best matches I've seen in a long time. I put it right up there with the top 5 matches I've seen, perhaps in the last 6 or 7 years.
That's how good it was. Shame if you missed it, but we're hopeful that today's will be just as entertaining. I think today's final is more important for Nadal than last year's final. He was on that winning streak then. He was tired. I think the fact that he lost helped him at the French Open. It took the pressure off his shoulders. No one was talking about that winning streak anymore. And he definitely ran out of gas in that third set and allowed Federer to win pretty comfortably in the end. I think it's going to be very important for Nadal to win here, to put to the back of his mind the loss that he suffered at the hands of Juan Carlos Ferrero last week, and to go into the French Open full of confidence.
100%. And a little bit of extra motivation for him. Not that he needs any, is the fact that he's never won this tournament before, so he would dearly love to get that Hamburg Waterford crystal on his mantelpiece back at home in Mallorca.
Well, what a match this promises to be. Nadal is looking to join Gustavo Kuerten and Marcelo Rios to become only the 3rd player ever to win all 3 clay court Masters Series events. Monte Carlo, of course, Rome, and here in Hamburg. Federer is looking to improve his already impressive record here in Germany, currently on a 41-match winning streak, and he's won his last 9 finals that have been played in this country. It'll be the best of 3 tie-break sets, and it'll be Federer to get this final underway. Federer said yesterday he felt very comfortable at the baseline. He's felt all week that he's been able to boss his opponents around, especially with that forehand, and that's something that he's going to have to do again, obviously, this afternoon. Beautifully done. Interestingly, Robbie, he said last year in the final he really felt that he used his backhand to great effect to actually put Nadal under pressure, and he said that that's something that he's going to also have to try and do again this afternoon.
No, 100%. No question. If he gets stuck too far behind the baseline, hitting high backhands, he's going to struggle. We saw that in the Monte Carlo final. Perhaps that's a shot we don't talk about enough. How solid the backhand of Nadal is. Defends so well off that side. We know how easily he can attack with it as well.
It's an excellent opening service game again, moving very swiftly up the court. And Nadal occasionally, when he gets a little tight, does tend to drop the ball short of a decent length. He did so yesterday against Djokovic. That's where the Serb really excelled, stepping up the court and being aggressive when he got the opportunity, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And he did a great job of it as well, with Djokovic. And that's exactly what I'd like to see Federer do today. I'd like to see him use his inside-out forehand towards the Nadal forehand a little bit more today than what he did again in the final in Monte Carlo. It's an important tactic when you play the Spaniard.
Nadal winning that match relatively comfortably in the end in Monte Carlo, in straight sets, even though Federer had an early lead in the second.
Tell you what, if he keeps hitting that forehand that well, you won't even have to bother about the inside-out one. It's an absolute ripper. 60 k's an hour.
Of course, what that does to Nadal is it puts him under a little more pressure initially, because you simply can't put the ball back in play and get into long rallies with Federer, because the Swiss is dropping the hammer so readily. So it makes him try and win the point a little sooner than perhaps he would want in the early stages of the match. So far, so good. What I should say is, so far, so very good.
Yesterday against Andrea Seppi, Federer didn't capitalize on a bunch of breakpoint opportunities. He won't be afforded the same luxury against Nadal.
The early tension is undoubtedly there. What a start Federer's made. 5 winners and just 1 unforced error in the opening 2 games. He's made his intentions very clear.
It's going to be a very important shot for Federer today. I really love that play. When he steps up the court, takes the forehand early against Nadal and rifles it up the line.
A longer rally. Nadal will feel all the better for that.
Coming against Nadal on the backhand side, better be a good approach, because you're so good at dispatching winners with relative ease.
First ace for Federer. Said yesterday he struggled serving indoors for the first time this week. Conditions were a lot different. The ball was heavier. He said he found it tougher to actually see the ball against the roof as opposed to the clear blue sky. So he'll be glad that we're playing today's match outdoors. He knows he can't afford to make errors like that on big points, especially with Federer in this mood. Away with the volley there, wasn't the best that Federer's ever played. Dad will be pleased that his son has started the match in the best possible fashion.
Time.
So Federer has, we said how impressive Federer has been at the start of this match. Look at the winners. Those are the red balls. Hitting a lot of balls close to the line, wide to the backhand, but keeping Nadal honest as well. The 2 winners as well going out to the forehand side. So the ball placement so far has been outstanding from Federer, hitting the balls close to the lines on both sides of the court.
Nadal with much to do then. In the opening set yesterday between Nadal and Djokovic, the serve had 2 points for a double break, and Nadal said after the match that was the most important game of it. Managing to hold and managing to stay just a single break of serve down, he still felt he had an excellent chance of winning the set. So it proved. So this game too, equally important.
There's that forehand up the line again from Roger. You know, Nadal loves to move to his left after he's hit the serve. So that shot is always on.
I know exactly what you mean, Robbie. I think you meant, though, to his right to cover the backhand, didn't you?
Absolutely. Sorry, my mistake. Always looking to back off into that corner, his backhand corner, and create some space so he can rip the forehand.
Federer hasn't always gone after Nadal's second service, perhaps as aggressively as he could have done. So nice to see that he's making his intentions very clear early on today.
That to me is a clear indication that Federer knows that he has to play that shot today, because he's hit it quite frequently already.
Nadal will feel a little better now. backhand from Federer. Again, Nadal guilty of dropping the ball just a little too short.
Yeah, and Federer does a good job of stepping up the court. That's a phenomenal angle with a single-handed backhand. It's a lot tougher with the one hand than the two.
A very late call. Nadal is sure he has the mark and he thinks it's wide. Fergus Murphy will make his first trip down off the chair just to verify that fact. To try and get back in this opening set as quickly as he possibly can. The great difficulty of attempting to take the ball so early as Federer is doing here on clay is the fact that not all the bounces are true. And if you play a little further behind the baseline, you have more time to make the necessary adjustment when that happens. When you try and take the ball on the rise all the time, it becomes almost impossible.
Solid normally. Occasionally, he gets himself into more trouble when he tries to take on that forehand. So deep in the backhand corner.
Break points. It's a terrific volley. It's not an easy shot when you have to change direction on the ball.
And the good thing about this volley is that he doesn't hit it deep. He gets to bounce short. Very difficult for Nadal to track that one down. And even if he did, moving forward to hit a passing shot is so difficult.
cases seal a tight service game for Federer.
Federer leads 4-1.
He leads 4-1 first set. Well, he'll feel an awful lot better about the situation, even though he still trails by a break. Having held and then taken Federer close in that last game, he'll at last start to feel he's a part of the final.
Absolutely. You want to settle into a final as quickly as you possibly can. And he knows that one break of serve, especially on the surface, isn't the end of the world. Federer will be well aware of the fact that he should go after getting a second break of serve. It's equally important for the world number one. Exactly how Federer has to play on the surface, I believe, if he wants to have any success against Nadal. This initial backhand, it's a 50-50 shot as far as I'm concerned. You can either stay back or choose to come in on it. And I think that time Federer made the right shot selection.
That's brilliant. Tactically spot on and executed with considerable aplomb.
Takes him out wide on the forehand. It opens up the backhand. Very difficult to pass when you're Nadal. A couple of feet behind the baseline, stretching with two hands on the backhand. Perfect pattern of play.
Interestingly, at the last change of ends, they swept the court, which means there's less chance of bad bounces when you do step up inside the baseline to take the ball on. So that too, playing into Federer's hands. No mistimed shots in this game. And he couldn't take the ball any earlier than he has done so far. What a game from Federer. Couldn't have wished for a better one. I don't think Nadal has ever faced Federer in this mood with this game plan in mind and playing so well.
Spot on. And this really is good stuff. And I hope Federer takes a good look at this as well after the match to see how effective this tactic is against Nadal. It was interesting because after he lost to Stepanek in Rome, I thought he didn't have to be that much more aggressive in order to be successful at the French Open or against Nadal.
Nadal again, not 100% sure. Good decision this time. It's been a phenomenal opening set as far as Federer is concerned. Hasn't got a foot wrong, really, in the 30 minutes that they've been out there. And already he's reached set point.
First serve.
Break point. And that's why it's so important to go in search of that second break of serve to get the added insurance that you need. Because it's Federer who still leads 5-2. Nadal obviously in a little bit of discomfort. So top of the hamstring, bottom of the glute. And he asked the trainer if he could do more damage, and the trainer said, well, it's possible.
When you push, when you serve, you feel it.
He has to be thinking about the French Open. There's no question that's the #1 priority. Not this afternoon's final, unfortunately. And the last thing he needs is to be carrying an injury.
Pressure on the right.
The trainer said also he can't tape it.
Yeah, because taping is not really going to help, is it? It's deep in the muscle.
I can put on him for the last minute. I think it's not going to help him. Just the tightness of the muscles, we try to relax everything around.
I mean, obviously the muscles are tight because such a long match yesterday against Djokovic took so much out of him.
Well, there's the answer right there. We didn't know how he was going to recover, and we pretty much just heard it from the horse's mouth.
That's the difficulty of playing the second semi-final of the day, especially when Federer took just over an hour to win his. It's a really, really difficult decision for a player to have to make in a major final like this one. He has to consider his season as a whole and where we are in the middle of the European clay court season. It's so difficult for him, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a nice decision to have to make, and he has to make it pretty quickly as well, because he doesn't want to do more damage if he goes out there and tries to carry on playing.
Maybe in the beginning, I failed in the beginning, second game, something like that. I try to, but it's not going down.
Well, Tony just asking whether everything's okay, or is he going to have to quit? I mean, also, the other thing to consider is Federer's playing so well today. So he's going to have to pull out all the stops to have any chance at all of winning this one.
And we saw how hard he had to work yesterday to do that very thing against Novak Djokovic.
And it's such a shame, because he was saying that coming into yesterday's semi-final and the quarter-final, he was feeling so good physically. Has had those problems with the blisters in Rome, He said he wasn't able to practice at all until last Sunday after Rome. So he hasn't been able to put in the time and effort that he would have wanted. Although certainly had yesterday's semi been a little easier, I'm sure he'd be in a much better position now. But that's what's so difficult about being one of the very best tennis players in the world. You've got to come out and do it again in these Masters Series events. There are no rest days like in the Grand Slams.
Absolutely. There's often that debate about, is it tougher to win a Slam or is it tougher to win back-to-back Masters Series events? And if memory serves me correctly, no one has won Rome and Hamburg back-to-back, and it just shows you how tough it is.
Maybe a week go back next.
Yeah, tough enough winning one Masters Series event, let alone two. He's going to give it a shot, though, which is good to see. We'll be keeping a very close eye on his movement and his reaction after any long, tight rallies. This first set isn't done yet. Federer leads 5-2. Uncle Tony just getting filled in by the trainer as well. He will be very concerned. Needs to hold serve here to remain in this opening set. Strange atmosphere now too. I mean, obviously all the fans hoping and praying that Nadal continues. The neutrals in the crowd will start to get behind him a little bit more, trying to urge him on, twist his arm to play a little longer, to forget the injury, to concentrate on Federer. Hasn't been a particularly good game from Nadal's point of view. Obviously, it's hard to focus fully when you've got a niggly injury. Very easy for your mind to wander. Set point. It's more like it. Maybe that will help. Two games in a row for Nadal, but he's still got work to do here. Federer with a second opportunity. Pocket this opening set.
Slight bit of hesitation from Federer. Instead of coming in off the first forehand, chose to stay back. Ended up losing the point.
Nadal on a little bit of a roll now. Federer under pressure. An injury timeout has disrupted his rhythm. And he no longer has the momentum working in his favour. He's only won 3 of the last 13 points. That's much better. That's exactly what he was doing at the beginning of the set. He's got to remain positive.
What a difference a couple of good first serves make as well.
Signs of nerves and tension in Nadal initially, and now it's Federer who's suffering. Big points. He's done it. Federer paying the price for becoming a little too tentative and dropping the ball ever so slightly too short of a decent length. And Nadal now has won 3 games in a row. But it's Federer who still leads 5-4. Nadal certainly seemed to be moving well enough in that previous game. Managed to break Federer the last 2 times the world number 1 has stepped up to the line, and has managed to win 12 of the last 17 points. And we're back on serve.
a recovery shot from Federer. Not that he was down and out in that point. Beautiful raking forehand, cross-court here from Nadal. It took Federer so far out of court. What a slice.
Almost looked as if Nadal didn't expect the ball to come over the net. Taken by surprise. Most unusual. The perfect start for the top seed. Can you believe it? He anticipated it correctly. He was there with plenty of time to spare.
And the tough thing now is it was still the right play, no question about it. But it's points like this that often discourage Federer from coming forward and coming to the net, finishing points off against Nadal. It'll be interesting to see what his mentality is going to be now in the next 15 minutes or so.
And especially so now.
And again, went up the line, but this time a little bit too much to the middle of the court. Ball was all over the forehand.
Just caught. Terrific forehand from Nadal. "22 minutes ago, Federer stood at set point with a 5-1 lead and seemingly was in total control of this opening set. And now he's got it all to do. Quickly, things can change. 5-all.
tough thing against Nadal. Now, when he does get the ball at your feet below the heart of the net, and you're volleying up, so difficult to win the point thereafter. Look at the footwork, outstanding. Small little steps around the ball, getting in the precise position.
Using that shot so intelligently today.
And he used it very intelligently yesterday as well, because that is the right play against him. You've got to make him hit that shot. I think it's his least favorite shot. And when he hits one that good, well, then that's when you've got to say too good.
Almost see the belief draining from Federer's face. Body language nowhere near what it was at the beginning of the match. Must be finding it very, very difficult to banish those negative thoughts from the forefront of his mind. Because amazingly, there's an opportunity here for Nadal to break serve yet again. Which he does, because it's another errant forehand from Federer. His 7th out of a total of 16 unforced errors, and the vast majority of those have come in the last 5 games. Nadal has turned things around quite beautifully here.
Time.
Well, the Spanish fans have had so much to cheer in the last 26 minutes or so since Federer stood at set point when leading 5-1 after just half an hour of outstanding tennis, really. But Nadal has won 20 of the last 29 points. And the Spaniard now with an opportunity to wrap up this opening set. Haven't been any further signs of any physical problems at all. Winning does tend to take the pain away, doesn't it? Not suggesting that there wasn't a problem physically, but obviously his mind is on other things right now. Federer's been unable to stop the rot. must be bitterly disappointed, to say the very least. He's playing so well the first 6 games of the match, but since then it's been all Nadal. Spaniard with his first opportunity here, put this set to bed, which he does. That's why beating Nadal on clay has been almost impossible. He's won 107 of his last 109 matches on this surface, and he's looking good today. A set to the good, 7-5. Well, it'll be Federer to get the second set underway. He must be feeling slowed down. It's a very similar scenario to the second set in Monte Carlo when he had such a sizable lead. And he said after that match, well, I feel good because I played well enough, I was up, I could certainly have done a little better, but I worked the game plan out, I was able to execute it most of the time, but not all of the time. But comes a stage where you've got to do it all of the time. Played so well in the opening 6 games of the match. It's going to be interesting to see now how he responds here in the second. Is he a good enough competitor to be able to put all that happened in that opening set completely out of his mind? Is it possible for anybody to do that?
Well, if anybody can, it's him. But he's got to harbour thoughts of the lead that he had. No question about that. It's so difficult to think of to forget about a sizable lead. Like what Federer squandered in the opening set. 5-1, set points, shut the gates. And the amount of confidence and belief you take from a set like that, it's difficult to describe. He just had the life sucked out of him. That's what you feel has happened.
Too good. He's creating some lovely angles now. He's the one that's outmaneuvering Federer.
Another strange thing for me is there's been no emotional response either from Nadal. There's been no vamoses, come-ons.
response from Nadal. He now leads by a set and a break. He's playing it very cool indeed. And the question remains as to whether there's going to be a response from Federer. We all expect one because he's such a great champion. I'm sure Nadal expects one at some stage. Will it come?
Well, I hope so for the sake of the fans and everybody here, because they wanted more competition in this final when Federer was up. And now that he's down, I've got to get back behind him. But it's happens so often, doesn't it, with Nadal? You know, he almost gives you belief and then takes it away. We saw against Djokovic. Djokovic up 3-love yesterday. Break points to go 4-love. Nadal wins the set. Federer again today. All kinds of belief and confidence, growing in confidence. Boom. Lifeblood just sucked out of him.
He's only won 3 of his last 9 forays into the forecourt. Needs to improve those numbers drastically to stand any chance at all of getting back into this match.
Emotional switch as well, from almost thinking that your opponent's going to retire to when your opponent starts to play unbelievable tennis is also difficult to handle.
Just missed it. Not by much, but enough to hand Federer a lifeline here. It's a half chance, but it's one that he must take. Thought initially he hadn't done enough with the volley, and I'm sure he felt the same way too. A bit of a let-off. Got to do something about it. He's lost the last 7 games. See Federer willing to be just as aggressive as he was at the beginning of the match, even though things haven't gone quite according to plan in the last half an hour or so. Chance here to break Nadal's serve, get back on level terms. Well, that must surely help the situation. And in many ways, it's quite a similar scenario to last year's final. Federer was saying yesterday that lost the opening set, got a little lucky at the beginning of the second, then got on a bit of a roll and ended up winning. But of course, the circumstances so very different.
Federer slightly more vulnerable, moving to his right on the forehand. This is what he did so well in the opening 6 or 7 games. And the point's nice and short. Despondent look there from Federer. Just when he thinks he's back in the set.
It's a good response. His first ace of the second set. He's got more work to do here, though. Well, Federer's done well. Force his way back into the match. Saving break points along the way there before eventually holding. The situation's a lot better now than it was before.
Time.
It looks like she's close to tears, having witnessed the downfall of her hero in that opening set. She must be pleased with the way that he's managed to turn things around in the early stages of the second. Remember, Nadal led by a set and a break. He was on something of a roll. But now he's got a little bit of work to do to get back on level terms.
Beautiful shot. Stepped inside the court, took the backhand on the rise. Not an easy shot again. With a single-handed backhand. Timing has to be perfect. So it was.
opportunity here then for Federer. Brilliant. It's the Federer of old. And by old, I mean the Federer of the beginning of the match. It's exactly what we saw in the opening half an hour of this one. Federer utterly dominant from the back of the court, taking the short ball on, being the aggressor in the rallies, and winning the vast majority of them. And it's the world number one, who once again is building a sizable lead here.
Well, this is a nice little bit of tactics. Staying aggressive. He's just broken serve. He realizes the importance of being aggressive. And a nice little S and V there on the second serve.
I think he also realizes that he needs to get a treble breakup rather than a double.
Exactly.
Because that didn't help him in the opening set. Got to keep pushing. Apology from Federer. The luck has started to turn. Nadal still intent on giving 100%. And Federer now is on something of a roll. He's now won 12 of the last 13 points to lead 4-1 second set.
One of the important things that Federer needs to do is he needs to continuously take the ball early and work on his transition game when he plays against Nadal, and he's done it pretty well throughout the course of this match. Just had that bad patch at the end of the opening set, but you can see he takes the ball right on the baseline or inside the baseline, and most of the winners are hit when he's coming forward. The transition game, so important when you play against Nadal, and finishing a lot of points off at the net. Those red balls right next to the net.
So needs to keep that up.
Well, there's a transition game. As soon as he had a good shot, he's well up the court as Federer. There's the good backhand, moves forward, takes the next forehand early. Key to success against Nadal.
A game that Nadal simply had to win. And whilst it's just the one break, obviously the Spaniard will harbour ambitions of putting this one in straight sets, given what happened in the opening set. Nicely done. Didn't panic. Watched the ball closely. Chose the right shot at the right time.
For me, again, it's no coincidence. He's up 4-2 in the second set. 8 of 11 points won in the forecourt. Good stuff from Federer.
Lovely little volley. Terrific feel, and again choosing the right time to make the move. He knew that Nadal could only offer a defensive shot from that position. And the Spaniard did really well to get it as low as he did. Deft touch from Federer got the job done. And that deft touch deserted him there.
Now for me, that's another very important point. It's a game point. He's complete control of it, and he fails to close the game out.
Smiles in the Federer camp for the first time, perhaps, in the last 45 minutes or so. Federer once more is on the brink of winning a set. 5-2. Well, she's an awful lot happier than she was before. And I'm sure the fact that Federer leads 5-2 in the second set has a lot to do with it. Amazing to think Nadal led by a set and a break at one stage before Federer has managed to win 5 of the last 6 games. Now the question is, can he put the set to bed? Strange how easily Nadal has faded in this second set. Having led by a set and a break, it's most unusual.
Or maybe he's just thinking, well, 5-2 down in a set, I've got Federer right where I want him. Play up the court on the backhand side, a little more than usual. A couple of those backhands in the rally, taking it hip height.
Lovely variation. Bit of extra spin on there. Allowed him to create the angle. How short it was up the court. But still with a lot of net clearance. That's the beauty of a topspin serve. That's the first part of the equation solved. The question is he going to be able to do anything in this game when Federer's got an opportunity to wrap the set up?
What a difference for Federer in this set when he gets that first serve and wins 81% of the points when the first serve goes in, only 27% on the second.
It's a brilliant forehand from Nadal. Federer seemingly in total control of the rally. Well, let's not forget that Federer twice served for the opening set. Federer to win it. And perhaps now those negative thoughts going back to haunt him. Great point. Good stuff from Federer. And the 2 break points, willing to come to the net on both occasions. Uh, 11 of 15 points at the net so far here in the second. That's a good return. That's the one that does cause Federer all sorts of problems. Made it. Federer's at the end of his tether, and understandably so. Nadal breaks the world number one again. And we're back on serve. Well, in breaking Federer, we saw Nadal clench his fist, but that's about all we've seen from him this afternoon in terms of the emotion. Why do you think it is that he's more subdued today than he has been generally? Is it just respect for Federer?
I think it's respect for Federer for one, but I think he's also harboring a few guilty feelings about that injury timeout when he was down 5-1 in the opening set, and perhaps the reason why he's kept things under wraps emotionally, because we know he loves to get fired up when he's playing. That's when he plays his best tennis. I could be wrong, but that's what I think.
Seemingly no ill effects since. Nadal looking to hold serve here to draw level at 5 games all. Knows the importance of starting this game well, and that was a very makeable shot. Full marks to Federer for continuing to come forward. Try and put Nadal under as much pressure as possible. That's 12 of 17 points won at the net so far here in the second.
It's got to be tough to keep your cool in circumstances like this.
He's done remarkably well so far. Federer shows his frustration, and it's understandable. Nadal has managed to reel in the world number one for a second consecutive time. The first set, Federer led 5-1. Here in the second, the top seed had a 5-2 lead, and now it's on as even. All. it, but only just. What a rally.
All the fans paying homage, because this is just beautiful touch. Understands the dimensions of the court so well, moves so efficiently on the clay, and using every inch of the court to make that volley.
Way too tentative with that forehand. And amazingly, Federer facing a further 3 break points. His fans demand a response. And Nadal will just want to make sure that the ball did touch the line, which it did. And the point correctly given to Federer. Nadal had no play on the ball. 1 break point saved. Big serving. Will Nadal be third time lucky? Well, the fans got what they wanted. The response so far to the 3 break points has been perfect.
Out of the woods yet.
Beautiful volley, inch perfect. Federer gets out of jail at love 40. Things were looking very difficult indeed for Federer. The fans thoroughly enjoying themselves, and why not? We've got the 2 best players on the planet going toe-to-toe in the 3rd and final European Clay Court Masters Series event, the 5th, of course, of the season. And Nadal needs to hold serve here to remain alive in the set.
shot you talk about right there, Jason. It's so difficult to execute on the clay. Taking it backhand early. Bounces. Never guaranteed. Hard court, so much easier to do. You can trust the bounce.
Right time to pull the trigger. The shot was on. Just a little deep. There's been so much happen in this match so far that perhaps it's appropriate that the second set will be decided by a tie break. It's now or never for Federer. He's made it.
Well, this wasn't a bad slice from Federer. Kept low. Look at the purchase he gets in that forehand. So much dip. Corner to corner stuff, that ball.
Federer perhaps just a tad lucky. Drop shot is always a good tactic to use against anybody that wants to play their tennis from the baseline, but Nadal had time to do better there. It's a brilliant shot.
This is what you call a thumper down the line. set and fire. 152 Ks, that forehand.
Not an easy shot to make when the ball's that low. Federer has timed his push perfectly.
I think he said a good one, but then realizes it's just missed.
Next one return, set the points up beautifully for Federer. Put the ball nice and low. It's the beauty of hitting an aggressive slice shot. And that meant that the pop-up was dealt with appropriately. Two points away.
Didn't do enough at the first volley. He set the point up so well with Federer. The inside-out forehand. He knows Nadal's going cross-court. Just a little too much up the middle. Has to be better than that against Nadal. That could be a big turning point in this breaker.
Two of those he's missed in this tiebreak, and that's not good enough. And he knows it. Two set points in the first set. Here's his first here in the second. Federer makes amends for losing the opening set by coming back strongly at the tail end of the second and wrapping it up in a tie-break. Federer has had so much success playing in German finals. He's won all 9 of them when he's played in the past, and he's currently on a 41-match winning streak in this particular country. So that's the size of the task that faces Nadal here in this deciding set. Of course, the Spaniard has done incredibly well on this particular surface in the last 3 years. He's won 107 of his last 109 matches. That's the size of the task that faces the world number 1 in this 3rd set. Love all.
There's the drop shot that we've seen Federer use quite effectively in previous matches. It's definitely a shot that he's used a lot more often this clay court season. Soft hands, and nicely done from Nadal. Underrated how well he volleys. So it's finishing off volleys where he's so good at. Feels like it's tough enough playing against Nadal as it is. When calls start going Nadal's way, it's the last thing Federer needs. That serve, Federer indicating just missed.
Read the play well. Enough time to react once he got into the position to win the point. Swung a little too much at the ball. It's a good start, nice quick service game.
Ball boy.
Well, we played for over 3 hours yesterday against Djokovic. We saw that he needed an injury timeout in the opening set. Hasn't appeared to hamper him at all in terms of his movement or anything. And Federer said yesterday the fact that it was just a 3-set match, it didn't really matter. There was going to be no physical aspects that would decide the outcome. Do you agree with that?
Oh, I think it'll be tough that it doesn't play any part whatsoever. I think it will play some part, especially if this set goes long as well, like the first 2 did. I think Federer will definitely be the fresher of the 2, but we don't know how Nadal's feeling. Only he knows that, so it's difficult for me to speculate from up here.
Good length. On the clay court. That's why it's so important to try and get the ball as deep as you can when you're just hitting it back up the middle of the court.
But it's so many good shots to win the point against Nadal. And that backhand volley is about as good as you're ever going to see. Carving around the side of the ball. Plenty of side spin as it hits the court. You can see it's always moving away.
Good stuff.
Such a well-constructed point from Nadal. He knows that Federer's way behind the baseline. The drop shot's on. A real cat and mouse game at the net. Getting enough pace on the ball. Nadal wasn't able to hit through the court. Federer pounced.
stuff from Nadal, eventually outmaneuvering Federer. So he loves to do, irrespective of the opposition. Some brilliant forehands there from the Spaniard. Excellent tactic to use on clay, back behind your opponent, especially when the court is as dry as this one. Nadal leads 2-1. Of those lucky enough to have tickets for the final, I think, wanted this one to go the distance. They wanted it to be a competitive affair. They've certainly got that. I think they're a little bemused, as we all are, as to all that unfolded in both the first and the second sets. But irrespective of that, we do have, in reality, a one-set match here. We're unserved at the beginning of the third. Federer going in search of his 5th win at this particular tournament. Nadal, of course, has never held aloft the trophy here.
Another interesting footnote. Nadal and Federer are the only 2 players to each reach the final in 8 different Masters Series events.
Great shot, and that's why we love the rivalry. It's developing nicely. These two have gone at it so often in the major events over the course of the last 2 or 3 seasons, and now, of course, with Novak Djokovic as well in the mix, it makes for even more exciting tournaments. Of course, with 3 players in the mix, more often than not, it means that the winner of the tournament will have to go through 2 of them rather than 1 of them. And that is much tougher to do mentally and physically. Nadal spent over 3 hours dispatching Djokovic yesterday. Didn't get finished until the early evening. Hasn't had a lot of time to recover. And there are a lot of good players at the very top of the men's game, but those 3 are head and shoulders above the rest. So the draw is important at the beginning of the week. Long matches do take their toll. That's why yesterday's match against Djokovic was important. In winning it, Nadal is now guaranteed to be seated 2nd at the French Open. Under pressure here. Break point. Nadal keeping the game plan simple, but it was effective. Nadal with the early lead then in set number 3. Beautiful backhand. Just misfiring now, more often than not when he attempts to pull the trigger. Nadal building up a fine head of steam. He's won 8 of the last 10 points. Been some legendary winners of this tournament down the years. Rod Laver, 1961. Guillermo Vilas, 1978. Jose Higueras in 82, is now coaching Federer, of course. Van Lendl was dominant in the mid-80s. And of course, Marcelo Rios and Gustavo Kuerten have both triumphed here. And Nadal today attempting to become only the 3rd player ever to be able to win the 3 European Clay Court Masters Series events. Federer doing his level best to stop him. To be that his level best isn't simply good enough today.
Yeah, I can't see Nadal losing from here, really. Looks like he's in total control. He's got Federer guessing now.
Federer's not sure. Fergus Murphy is. And he's the man that matters. Good decision from the umpire. An excellent point from Nadal. And his reward now is a chance to further extend his lead. Good stuff from Federer. An excellent response. Four levels of line has worked well for him this afternoon. Too many wild shots as well. Brilliant. So plenty of that in the opening 6 games of the match.
Yeah, it's a pattern of play we haven't seen much throughout this third set. Coming in up the line, and when Nadal is stretching like that, there really is only one place he's going to pass, or attempt to pass, should I say, and that's back up the line, and Federer's all over the volley. Well, this is one of the rare occasions where we see Nadal perhaps choose the wrong shot. Very heavy-handed with that drop volley.
Way too high, surely, to be attempting a drop volley. Just put the thing away. It's terrific stuff from Federer. It was do or die. And we've seen it so often in the past. His response was magnificent. Federer Federer's still in with a shout. He's got to try and find a way to break serve. Four-two.
Take a little confidence, I think, from that last game when he was able to hang on. Obviously a double breaker serve, you feel like he was really done and dusted. Only one break, it's doable still. No chances whatsoever.
Federer's making his move. He's won 8 of the last 10 points. Nadal needs to weather the storm if he's to eventually triumph. Vicious forehand. Really took off when it bounced. Got to put Nadal under a little more pressure than that when you come in, haven't you? Somehow.
Yeah, just perhaps a tad short. And we have to be picky here because we're talking about the very best player on clay. Mediocrity doesn't suffice.
Just deep. Only a couple of inches in it.
And Roger kind of dipped his head to help that one get out.
longer the game goes on, the more significant it becomes. It's a 1-2 punch.
A wide serve takes his opponent so far to the court. And when he spreads the forehand to the other end of the court, it's just so tough to track down. Distance that Federer has to cover, so great.
Here is that Federer played the return, missed it, and then just wandered up. And it won't be a first serve, they won't be playing a let, it'll be a second. Chance, court was open.
I think a fair risk to take. It was a mid-court ball. He had to take the backhand early if he wanted to have any chance of finishing off the point, or at least put Nadal under a great amount of pressure. Fortunately, the execution let him down.
Federer worked so very hard there on the volley. That was a huge game. Federer had a break point, but Nadal was able to eventually prevail. And he been plenty to entertain the fans, lucky enough to have tickets this afternoon. I think the majority of them would have favoured a Federer victory. He's got such a good record here, he's got so many fans in this part of the world. It's looking unlikely. He needs to hold serve here, stay in the match.
backhand.
Inch perfect. Almost impossible for Federer to make a play on that ball there. Moving backwards, ball bouncing wildly. Perfect. Well, Federer knows that he has to break serve here. It's as simple as that. That's why the new racket's coming out. It's now or never. Just needs one more decent service game, and the title will be his.
Dramatic stuff here at the tail end of the third set. And Federer in complete control at this point. Lady luck falling the way of Nadal. Still had a bit of work to do though. How well he handled this little dink backhand cross court. Federer in his face. To win that first point was huge for Nadal.
Makes such a big difference. 2 hours and 50 minutes. These two heavyweights have been trading body blows. Nadal just 2 points away from victory. It's been an incredible match for so many different reasons. It's been absolutely fascinating, and it's been almost impossible to pick a winner. But with Nadal now just a point away from victory. Surely the match is his. He's done it. A phenomenal effort from Nadal. The 11th Masters Series title of his career, equal now with the great Pete Sampras. And he improves his clay court record to a phenomenal 108 wins in his last 110 matches. And gains revenge for the loss he suffered at the hands of Federer in last year's final here. And that's the only time he's ever been beaten on the final Sunday of a clay court tournament. He's now won 21 of the 22 finals he's played on his beloved clay. Once again against Nadal on clay. He has an excellent record at this particular tournament, and that defeat will hurt. Of that there can be absolutely no doubt.
Meine Damen und Herren, ein herzliches Willkommen dem Präsidenten des Deutschen Tennisbundes, Dr. Georg Freier von Waldenfels. Ein ganz herzliches Willkommen dem Präsidenten des Tennisverbandes Katar, Abdullah Rahman Shah Al-Shatri. Ein herzliches Willkommen dem Vorstandsvorsitzenden der E.ON Hansa AG, Hans-Jakob Thiessen. Ein herzliches Willkommen, Frau Prof. Dr. Karin von Welk, Präses der Behörde für Kultur, Sport und Medien hier in Hamburg. Ein herzliches Willkommen unserem Turnierdirektor hier am Hamburger Roten Baum, Karl-Uwe Steb.
Former player.
Ein herzliches Willkommen von der ATP Player Relation, Giorgio Di Palermo. Ein herzliches Willkommen dem ATP Supervisor Tom Barnes. Meine Damen und Herren, es spricht nun Herr Dr. Georg Freier von Waldenfels, Präsident des Deutschen Tennisbundes.
Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, ich glaube, in Ihrer aller Namen kann ich sagen, besser kann man auf Sand nicht spielen, als wir es heute in diesem Endspiel erlebt haben. Herzlichen Dank den beiden Finalisten, Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer. Für mich war es faszinierend, was wir alle ja als Tennisspieler mal erlebt haben, dass man 5-2 führt und doch noch 7-5 verliert. Das ist auch so ganz groß passieren kann, tröstet einen in seiner Tennisseele, aber nimmt nichts an der hohen Qualität des Tennis, was wir in diesen Tagen hier am Roten Baum erlebt haben. Ich möchte mich bei den Spielern bedanken, die über die Woche gezeigt haben, dass Tennis hier am Roten Baum Zukunft haben muss. Wir kämpfen um dieses Turnier auch für das nächste Jahr.
And suggesting that they have to fight for their future here, given all that they've seen throughout the course of the week.
Ich möchte mich bedanken bei unseren katarischen Freunden, die mit an unserer Seite stehen. Bedanken vor allem auch bei der Politik, beim Hamburger Senat, bei Ihnen, der neuen
Thanking everybody behind the scenes who have worked so very hard throughout the course of the week and, of course, for weeks beforehand, getting everything ready.
Dr. Freitag, der Sportstaatsrat, Jäger, also alle sind hier und wollen mithelfen, dass dieses Turnier auch am Roten Baum ein Masters-Turnier bleibt. Und ich möchte mich in diesem Zusammenhang besonders bedanken, meine Damen und Herren, bei den Spielern. Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer haben eindeutig gesagt, wir wollen, dass das Masters-Turnier hier in Hamburg bleibt.
All that they've witnessed throughout the course of the week, especially the finalists.
Danke natürlich auch allen Sponsoren. Herr Thiessen ist schon genannt worden, aber auch all den anderen. Ich danke auch unserem Turnierdirektor, dem neuen Turnierdirektor. Karl-Uwe Steb hat einen hervorragenden Job gemacht.
Carlo Versteep, the new tournament director, done an excellent job in his first year here.
Aber meine Damen und Herren, ein ganz besonderer Dank gilt dem Ballmädchen, dem Ballbuben hier am Roten Baum. In diesem Sinne hoffe ich, dass wir uns alle wiedersehen im Jahr 2009 bei der Master Series Hamburg hier mit Ihnen zusammen. Vielen Dank.
And of course, wants to see all of the players and fans back in 2009.
Meine Damen und Herren, es spricht nun Frau Professor Dr. von Welk.
Ja, sehr geehrter Herr von Weidenfels, sehr geehrter Herr Turnierdirektor, Sponsor, Freude aus Katar. Meine Damen und Herren, ich muss sagen, ich bin unglaublich glücklich, dass meine erste offizielle Veranstaltung als Sportsenatorin gerade dieses wunderbare Turnier hier am Roten Baum ist und dass es ein so sensationell spannendes Spiel war. Ich kann Ihnen versichern, Herr von Weidenfels, dass der Senat der Stadt Hamburg alles daran tun wird, wie wir Ihnen auch immer helfen können, dem Deutschen Tennisbund, dass dieses großartige Turnier in dem Status als Masters-Turnier auch weiter hier bleibt. Die Tage waren großartig.
Saying that the city of Hamburg will do all that they can to try and keep this a Masters Series event.
Und haben genau die Bilder über die Welt gebracht, die wir von Hamburg aus vermitteln wollen. Einer sportbegeisterten Stadt, einer wunderschönen Stadt, einer Stadt, die auch gutes Wetter für Sport hat und ganz viel engagierte Leute und ganz tolle Zuschauer. Das soll so bleiben, darauf freue ich mich und herzlichen Glückwunsch an den Sieger heute, aber auch an beide Spieler heute, dass sie uns so ein fantastisch spannendes Turnierende geboten haben. Vielen Dank.
She thoroughly enjoyed her time here this afternoon.
Meine Damen und Herren, wir kommen zur Siegerehrung. Ich darf das Wort weitergeben an unseren Turnierdirektor, an Carlo Versteep.
Ja, ich möchte ganz besonders Ihnen, liebe Zuschauer, danken. Ich denke, in der ganzen Woche kamen sehr viele Emotionen rüber. Das haben die Spieler gespürt. Den Spielern hat Spaß gemacht. Und ich glaube, wir hätten uns nicht besser präsentieren können. Und auch, ich hätte mich gefreut, wenn es jemand von der ATP heute gesehen hätte. Denn so ein Turnier muss bleiben.
Players could feel the enthusiasm of the fans and responded accordingly.
Ganz besonders möchte ich mich bei dem Organisationsteam des Turniers bedanken. Jeder war hier, egal ob es Ordner waren, Turnierbetreuung, Spielerbetreuung, alle waren voll dabei und voll motiviert. Und herzlichen Dank, ihr habt meine Arbeit sehr, sehr leicht gemacht. Und wie gesagt, tollen Sport haben wir die ganze Woche gesehen. Und jetzt würde ich sagen, gehen wir zur Siegerehrung über.
Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, liebe Tennisfreunde, was für ein Finale hier am Hamburger Roten Baum. Es war spannend bis zum Schluss und es hat für ihn um Millimeter nicht gereicht. Trotzdem, er hat viele Fans hier, es ist sein Zuhause. Dieses Jahr Platz 2. Herzlichen Glückwunsch, der Nummer 1 der Welt, Roger Federer.
Such a great champion here in Hamburg. He's won this tournament on no less than 4 previous occasions. But today, there was to be no 5th.
Kurze Korrektur, es war 5-1 im ersten. Darum danke für das Kompliment. Aber ich bin zuerst richtig warm gespielt, darum ist es schade, dass das Match schon vorbei ist. Aber nein, seriös, natürlich herzlichen Glückwunsch. Rafael hat wieder einmal wahnsinnig gut gespielt, die ganze Woche lang und schon wieder die ganze Sandplatzsaison lang. Darum freut es mich für ihn. Es ist hart für uns andere, aber hoffentlich werden die Karten neu gemischt in Paris und wir sind beide bereit und das Finale war super. Darum hat es mich sehr gefreut.
Looking forward to Paris and hopefully he'll get his revenge at the French Open.
sicherlich bin ich enttäuscht hier heute zu verlieren, aber eben diese Woche hat mir wieder einmal mehr enorm gut gefallen. Ich habe immer super Erlebnisse hier in Hamburg und eben die letzten Jahre waren immer sehr, sehr erfolgreich. Darum hoffentlich kann ich das gut wegstecken für Paris und ich möchte mich nur bedanken für die super Unterstützung die ganze Woche lang. Wir Spieler schätzen das natürlich sehr.
And now he's trying to look forward to the French Open, but I'm sure he'll be back here. Supported this tournament very well over the years.
Ja, natürlich möchte ich dem Turnier danken für die Einladung jedes Jahr wieder. Uns gefällt es immer sehr gut hier. Charlie hat das super gemacht. Hat nicht so viel zu tun miteinander. Vielleicht bin ich einfach, vielleicht geht es einfach gut zwischen uns, aber es hat mir eigentlich sehr gut gefallen hier wieder. Vielen Dank auch an die Sponsoren, alle, die hier auf dem Platz sind, die das speziell von Spielern machen.
Always a pleasure
natürlich
coming to Hamburg,
für nächstes Jahr.
Enjoying
Wir
everybody's
Spieler haben alles
hospitality.
versucht und ich fühle mich natürlich auf jeden Fall wieder freuen, hier dabei sein zu können und darum hoffe ich nur das Beste für dieses Turnier und wir sollten uns nächstes Jahr dann wiedersehen. Auf Wiederschauen.
And he looks forward to returning and they will welcome him here with open arms.
Applaus, Roger Federer.
Just came up short today, but it wasn't for lack of trying.
Und damit sind wir beim Sieger des Master Series Turnieres Hamburg 2008. Meine Damen und Herren, der Sieger hier auf dem Center Court der Welt aus Spanien, Rafael Nadal.
The first time that Nadal has been victorious here in Hamburg. He becomes only the third player ever to win all three of the European Clay Court Masters Series events.
Hans-Jakob Thiessen, Vorstandsvorsitzender der E.ON Hansa AG.
Gustavo Kuerten and Marcelo Rios are the other two, and Nadal joins those two great clay court players now. And that will give him a huge boost in confidence ahead of the French Open, especially considering all that happened last week in Rome.
Er bekommt nun auch den Wanderpokal, meine Damen und Herren. Und hat natürlich unseren riesengroßen Applaus verdient. Danke an die Firma Waterford Crystal für die Pokale, meine Damen und Herren. Der Sieger 2008. Wir applaudieren und sagen Respekt und Anerkennung. Rafael Nadal.
And Nadal has the respect of everybody comes up against on this particular surface. He's only lost twice in his last 110 matches on clay.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, well, sorry, Roger, today. Well played all the week. Well, I just want to say thank you very much, everybody, for coming and support me all the week. It was very special for me, so thanks. Well, thank you, Giorgio, Tom, everybody, Charlie, everybody who has possible this tournament. This tournament is very, very important, and this tournament, in my opinion, deserves the Master Series forever. No? So. Well, thank you very much, all the sponsors. Thank you, my team, all my team, and see you soon. See you next year. Thank you very much.
Meine Damen und Herren, noch einmal einen riesengroßen Applaus. Der Sieger am Roten Baum 2008, Rafael Nadal.
Well, it's been a terrific week, Robbie, and let's hope this rivalry runs and runs.
Well, it's one of the greatest rivalries, forget about tennis, but in sport. And I hope that they do battle in about 2.5 weeks' time in Roland Garros. I would love to see Federer have one more crack at Nadal. I think he's getting closer and closer to finding the right way of beating the Spaniard on the surface. Today we saw him come in a lot more than we've ever seen him come in. Perhaps only the final in Rome was when he came in a little bit more than what he did today, and he almost beat Nadal in that final. So I think he's close to getting the right recipe. I would dearly love to see him do it at the French Open.
But the other side of the coin is that Nadal's beaten Federer in his own backyard, the only guy to have beaten the German in the 10 finals that he's played in this country, and he stopped his 41-match winning streak. So he's got a lot of positives to take from the match, and he's going to be feeling good in Paris.
Absolutely, but he's also going to have all the pressure on knowing that he's been able to do all these wonderful things. Again, the streak is unbelievable. The amount of matches he's won is unbelievable. So all the expectation is on his shoulders going into Paris. And I think, in a way, Nadal is the odds-on favourite in Paris, and it'll be nice for Federer to come in perhaps as the distinct underdog for once.
There's been some terrific champions here down the years. Rod Laver, Guillermo Vilas was a winner in 1978. Jose Guerres, who's now coaching Federer, of course, was a winner here in 1982. Ivan Lendl dominated tennis in the mid to late 80s. He was a winner here in 87. Stefan Edberg, of course, was victorious here in 1992. Marcelo Rios and Gustavo Kuyen, the only other two players to have won all three of the European Clay Court Masters Series events, were winners here in 99 and 2000. And of course, Federer has been utterly dominant, but not today. It's Nadal who ends up the champion. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage, not only of the final, but throughout the course of the last couple of weeks in Rome and here in Hamburg. For Robbie Koenig, I'm Jason Goodall, hoping you'll be able to join us in Toronto for the next Masters Series event, which starts a little earlier than usual this season on July the 21st. So put that one in your diary. Until then, it's bye for now.